It's time for our keynote address. Now, co-host, please put our keynote speaker Ajay on spotlight as I introduce him. All right. So our keynote speaker is someone who I've been knowing for a long while, and I'm in awe of him, frankly. So he has managed various corporate roles for 27 years, and in his last assignment, he ran a global IT services business with team members across India, China, Australia, UK, and the USA, the entire world. He struck out on his own 6 years back, pursuing his passion for mentoring and investing in startups. He's a globally certified scaling up coach working with mid sized companies in technology, manufacturing, and services domains. He has been a Toastmaster for 6 years and he has volunteered at various leadership roles at club and district. Last year, he achieved podium finishes at district level in international speech contest as well as table topics contest. He has helped charter 5 clubs for entrepreneurs over the last 3 years and plans to support at least 3 more new Toastmaster clubs in 2021. Well, he is a speaker who's well on his way to become a professional speaker within the country and beyond. And he has been an avid reader his entire life and has always maintained a mini library in his house, as you can see in his backdrop. That's not a virtual one. He has many favorite books in different domains. The 3 books which have influenced him significantly are Sudden by Oliver Strange in his pre-teen years, Fountainhead by Ayn Rand in his teenage years, and The Alchemist, Paulo Coelho, in his early professional life. It's all the 3 books published by all these 3 authors, besides many more. So please help me with a thunderous round of virtual applause, Ajay Hiraskar.
Thank you, Aniket, for that wonderful welcome. I think you landed up sharing much more than what was really required in the introduction, but thank you very much. So, first of all, I'd like to congratulate Aniket, you as well as all of your readers for such a wonderful habit that they're inculcating as a group together. Now, when I look at all of y'all, it brings to mind a quote from my favorite author, Paulo Coelho. In his book, 11 Minutes, Paulo Coelho says, I can choose either to be a victim of the world or an adventurer in search of treasure. It's all a question of how I view my life. And here you are, all of y'all, adventurers in search of the treasure. And what better place to find that treasure than books? Sitting with you all today, it reminds me of a time long, long back, longer than a lot of people that I see in this room who look very young to me. This is in the late 70s and the early 80s. There used to be a 10-year-old boy that who used to live in Mumbai, in Bombay. And those who are familiar with Mumbai, he used to live in Shivaji Park in Dadar. Every Sunday morning, invariably, at 8 o'clock in the morning, he would leave his house, take a bus, a BEST bus that is there, with a ticket that just cost him 30 paise to go from his house in Shivaji Park to a place in Sion, which is just about a 25-minute bus ride. Now, this was his routine every day, every Sunday morning, and there he would go to his uncle's house. His uncle was older and was not able to see properly, so he required support and assistance to go around. He would go to his uncle's house. He would take his uncle, they would come down, they would take a taxi, and then they would go down to a place called King's Circle. Now, put up your hands in the audience if all the book lovers sitting in this room have heard about King's Circle in Mumbai, in Bombay. And on Sundays, especially, I can see several hands coming up. Fabulous. And on Sundays, especially, at that point of time, there used to be a very large second-hand book market that would congregate in King Circle. Now, my uncle had worked to go to some of the places in King Circle, so he would go there. But before he went, invariably every Sunday, he would give a 10 rupee note to that young boy. And 10 rupees back in the late 70s was a significant amount of money, my dear friends. I mean, feeling rich, that boy would go and scourge all of the bookstores that were there, that were set up on the road. And for that princely sum of 10 rupees, you could get sometimes two books, three books, four books, sometimes five books if you're lucky, because a book would hardly cost you be anything between 2 rupees to 5, 7 rupees. That's it, a second-hand book. And he would come back richer every such visit. And that was the biggest motivation for him to do that trip every Sunday to help out his uncle. The opportunity to find those treasures, those nuggets that would be strewn around and put out on the streets of King's Circle. If you haven't experienced it, I believe even now on Sundays you can still experience it. Next time you're in Bombay, definitely go and check it out. And obviously, you've understood that that's my story. That is how I was there gathering my collection of books from the second-hand stores of King Circle. Cut across 15 years later, in my professional life, working in a city of Ahmedabad. In the city of Ahmedabad, my office used to be in an area called Kankaria Lake. And I used to stay in a place called Drive-In Road. So it was basically the old city and the new city. My office is in the old city, I used to be in the new city. And every Saturday afternoon, I would take off early from work. Along the way home, and I had a two-wheeler, obviously a scooter. Along the way home, invariably every Saturday afternoon, I would stop over at the British Council Library and Law College Road of Ahmedabad. And every Saturday afternoon, I would spend 5, 6 hours of extreme pleasure sitting down there and reading those books. Now, why am I telling you these two stories? Because all of you sitting out here in this room are obviously book lovers or people who obviously are interested in books. I'm only telling you the story because for me, it is what made me. I am not saying that my parents did not contribute. I'm not saying that my education system did not teach me. I'm not saying all the other stuff that I did during my school and college years did not teach me things. They taught me a lot. But if there was a layer that I accumulated in all of these years, right from that young age, it was the layer of reading habit. Whether in school, my library and I we used to meet each other every day. Besides the school library, I would also be a part of something called a circulating library that used to exist at that point of time, where you could borrow books from and return them for a monthly fee. It was the early SaaS model, right? The service software as a specialist, but it was a BaaS model, book as a service. So you could do that. So I used to be a member of a circulating library near my house. I used to be a regular card holder for the library and getting two books parallelly and enjoying all of that. Now, did that make me a nerd? Yes, it made me a nerd. I did come third in my school, but I also did very well in non-academics, in sports, whether it was in other stuff. But how did books really help me, if you really ask me personally? It gave me a window to a lot of things that you could not really access at that point of time. Today, you can open your phone, open your Google browser, and you can be looking at anything anywhere in the world. But think back then, in the late 70s and the 80s, where the opportunities were finite. What you could really learn was limited to what was available on Doordarshan or radio or the books and the newspapers that rarely were there. So the libraries and the books gave me a window that I could peep out into and learn so many things outside any of my only areas of interest. And I used to do a wide amount of reading. Fiction was always there. I mean, starting off from, like rightly Aniket Rai spoke about, right? Enid Blyton was what you started off with. You graduated to Famous Five, Hardy Boys, going on and on to maybe Sherlock Holmes, going on to Perry Mason, going on from that Jeffrey Archer. So obviously, and Robert Ludlum. All that fiction was obviously lined up, and I still have a lot of those books that are still coming out from those older days. But as time went by, because of my exposure to things like the British Council Library, where I used to be a member in Mumbai, in Ahmedabad, in Pune, wherever I went to, in Bangalore, I was always be a member of the British Council Library. It gave me access to information and stuff which otherwise was not really available. These were amazing books on various subjects. Like Aniket said, there was a lot of interest in psychology, so I do read a lot of reading on that. I graduated in economics, so obviously world affairs and what's really happening around the world was always of interest to me. But it went into other subjects. It went down to in terms of what is the cosmos. It went down to philosophy. It went down to so many areas. And how did it help me? Personally, I think it helped me to create that layer of knowledge and information that I could use successfully in so many facets of my life, whether it was my academic life, where I could, when I would attempt an answer in a examination, I could step beyond the boundaries of the textbooks. I could indicate stuff which is not necessarily available there because I'd read about it in the various books that I'd caught up upon around the subjects that I was interested in. Well, outside examination and academics, it helped me because when I went into extracurricular, when I was used to be a debater or where I would participate in other things in inter schools and inter collegiate competitions, it gave me that additional edge of a knowledge and understanding that I could bring into play. When I got into the corporate world myself, it gave me that additional layer of knowledge and information that I could apply when I could have ideas and I could have suggestions, where I could have initiatives that we could do because people were really not thinking about it. So, in my personal opinion, it shaped me to be able to think out of the box. Because, like they say, if you want to think out of the box, first of all, you have to have inputs that are outside the box. And throughout my life, that is the one thing that I always focus upon. How can I have inputs that go beyond? So this is, I think, the biggest single advantage that has played out for me in all of these years. Now, I continue that story even today. Like even today, I join up elements like Singularity University. It's a place that really they focus upon how various technologies are converging to make a change in the future of humanity. Now, that's something which is completely unrelated to what I do today, but it is fascinating to think and know about things like NFTs, which is now in the news. You read it on newspaper now. Yeah, the first time I heard it was when a session that I attended at Singularity University, non-fungible tokens. Now, I didn't even know what they were at the beginning. But once you start understanding concepts, then you start understanding the concept, how they could possibly apply in what you do, how they could possibly apply in my work to the organizations I work with. So obviously it helped me even today, that additional layer. And that is the first fundamental reason that I would urge all of you. Yes, fiction is great, and I love fiction and I read a lot. But then step out. Read in the areas of your interest, but step out of that and read about other areas too. You'll be amazed at what amount of knowledge that comes into play is intersecting each other in so many places that you won't even imagine. So this is the first starting point. As time grew by, one of the other things I started to understand because of the ability to read is the fact that you could really understand the trends of what is going to be there tomorrow. And this is obviously much more later in my professional life. Now, a book like Homo sapiens is well known for the history of mankind, but the book Homo Deus is all about what is the future of mankind. When you read books that also talk about what is in the future, long time back, if you really had it, you had a lot of these kind of books also. But even today, if you have access to information that tells you what the next 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, I mean, at least till the time I'll be alive, but then after that, that is still relevant to my children, that might still be relevant to younger people that I work with. So the knowledge and understanding about how the future will unfold potentially is also something that you need to understand. And I need that in what I do today when I work with startups and help them to grow, because that gives me that perspective, that peek beyond the horizon, and that has become the additional layer even for me to even today now. Now, what are the other things that it has really given me? Obviously, the ability to be able to hold a conversation wherever I go. The ability when you go and meet different people from different areas, can you pick up a thread? Can you expound upon it? Can you talk about it? So it obviously makes you a good proposition when you meet new people, because in life, the only way you can grow is when you meet people who are outside your spheres. And that is what you also land up doing in an element like Toastmasters or the other entities that I'm involved with. So it gives you the opportunity to meet different people. And when you meet different people, where is the opportunity to strike up the conversation, and where is the opportunity to be able to at least ask questions if you've never touched upon concepts that lie outside the zone of your own knowledge and experience. So that's been the other area that it has always helped me. The third thing it's given me, obviously, is the ability to merge together interdisciplinary concepts and to be able to have my own thought process that goes beyond just the ordinary. Because one thing is to be able to learn something or read about something, and it's completely something else to be able to assimilate those various pieces of information and piece them together in a more interesting or a different way. And that obviously becomes a great advantage that you can also carry with you. Now, one of the questions that Aniket asked me to address possibly, has it helped me in my life? I think absolutely yes. All along my career, it has helped me to grow faster. It has helped me to be more successful. It has helped me to initiate programs or initiate activities which were completely out of the box. And that is how it has helped me in my career. But there's a different question that he also asked me. How do you remember all of the things that you read about? Well, I don't, very frankly. I mean, over all the years, the amount of stuff that you read, no matter what you do, your brain cannot hold all of it at every point of time. So, in my opinion, it's all a matter of figuring it out that when you read something, can you reflect and can you figure out how this applies to which facet of your existence? I think even putting that little bit, and I'm sure when you do the reading habit techniques, you'll be having these kind of elements that you put into play that help you to assimilate the knowledge and information much more effectively. So this is something that I've done consciously. There are obviously many things that I would have forgotten along the way, but yes, there are still many things that I remember that I would have read long time back because they got integrated into a larger framework that I might be operating in. So a lot of the stuff which is not connected to the framework might have whittled away, but all the other stuff still remains. So I completely congratulate you all. I congratulate you all for initiating yourself into this process, for reigniting your love if you had forgotten it along the way, or starting on the journey even today. I know in today's world there are enough distractions. You have Netflix, you have YouTube, you have all of the videos, you have social media. And I do not say that they don't add value. There is wonderful stuff that you can get even there. But nothing takes away the pleasure of taking a book, of letting the writer take you on a journey along with him or her, where you could explore, if it's a case of fiction, worlds of fantasy, worlds of new, plots and twists. And when it comes to educational or business elements, new concepts, new ideas. And the writer hands hold you on that journey together. All that you have to do is reach out and grab that hand. There are great books, there are lousy books too. So when you become a part of a group that you can get inputs upon what are the good books to read, you can definitely avoid the hassle of going through all of the other books which are not necessarily so good, and focus on the books that can really help you and you can really enjoy in the process. I'm myself a part of several groups where I keep getting recommendations about books to read. And believe me, it's an extremely long list even now. of the number of books that I still have to read. I have to hold myself back not to buy all of them all the time because there is only a finite amount of space that you can give to books in your house. After a point of time, it's a question of rotation then. So I have to ensure that every 3 to 5 years, I need to overhaul my library. I need to ensure some things exit so something else can come in. Otherwise, by now, I would have had an entire bedroom filled with only books, which I'm sure neither my wife and neither the real estate prices in Pune will allow me to do. So with that, I'd like to hand this over back to Aniket. I'm assuming and I'm sure that I've exceeded the time that he has set for me. But if you get me talking on books, there is no end to it because ultimately that small boy who was 10 years old, who went along to King's Circle every Sunday, starts coming out, and you know how excitement of children are, right? When you have a treasure that is waiting for you, then you can't hold your excitement. So I get transported back 40 years to become that small child again. Back to you, Aniket.
Wow.